Bonjour. Bonjour. So we are Sonotriette, we're the trio of Sonomusette, so therefore Sonotriette. And we are going to start off with a song made famous and written for Edith Piaf called L'accordéoniste. L'accordéoniste is what's awesome about these songs that are, this one takes place in between the world wars. And it's a chanson réaliste, so it's a realistic song, realism song, and they're little snippets of people's lives. In this instance, it's the story of a fille de joie, a woman of joy. A woman of joy is a woman who provides joy in the flesh, if you see what I mean. She's a prostitute, and after her long, hard day's work, she goes to the club to lose her sorrows in the music that her boyfriend plays. And they both dream of having a different life. They're going to open a cafe, and they're going to do all these things. Unfortunately, it's wartime. He gets drafted, and he doesn't come back. He gets killed, and nobody wants a sad woman of joy. So she returns to the club, and there's another accordion player, dime a dozen those days, whom she dances to and loses all of her sorrows in the music and just keeps dancing until she yells, "Stop!" because she can't take it anymore.
La fille de joie est belle, au coin de la rue là-bas. Elle a une clientèle qui lui remplit son bas. Quand son boulot s'achève, elle s'en va à son tour chercher un peu de rêve dans un bal du faubourg. Son homme est un artiste, c'est un drôle de petit gars, un accordéoniste qui sait jouer la java. Elle écoute la java, mais elle ne la danse pas. Elle regarde son accordéoniste et ses yeux amoureux suivent le jeu nerveux et les doigts secs et longs de l'artiste. Ça lui rend dans la peau par le bas, par le haut. Elle a envie de danser cette musique. Tout son être étendu, son soufflet suspendu, c'est une vraie tordue de la musique. La fille de joie est belle, au coin de la rue là-bas. L'homme qui était un terre, il est parti soldat. Quand il reviendra de la guerre, ils prendront une maison. Elle sera la caissière, lui sera le patron. Que la vie sera belle, ils seront de vrais pachas. Et tous les soirs pour elle, il jouera la java. Elle écoute la java, elle fredonne tout bas. Elle revoit son accordéoniste et ses yeux amoureux suivent le jeu nerveux et les doigts secs et longs de l'artiste. Ça lui rentre dans la peau par le bas, par le haut. Elle a envie de danser cette musique. Tout son être étendu, son souffle suspendu, c'est une vraie tordue de la musique. La fille de joie est seule, au coin de la rue là-bas. Les filles qui font la gueule, les hommes n'en veulent pas. Et tant pis si elle crève, son homme ne reviendra plus. Adieu tous ces beaux rêves, seule vie, elle est foutue. Pourtant ses jambes tristes l'emmènent au boui-boui, où il y a un autre artiste qui sait jouer la java. Elle écoute la pas. Elle entend la java, elle ferme les yeux, les doigts secs et nerveux. Ça lui rentre dans la peau par le bas, par le haut. Elle a envie que les airs physiques. Alors pour oublier, elle s'est mise à danser, à tourner au son de la musique. Arrêtez, arrêtez la musique. Merci, merci. Our next song is a Sonomusette original. And the chemin means the path, the way. And in the song talks about how some people in life just know exactly where they're going. They know what to do. They know the choices. They know, what path they're going on. And other people choose to, run through the rain and follow butterflies and run around in tornadoes. And maybe don't have such a path, but enjoy the present moment. Paraît que certains connaissent leur chemin. Paraît même qu'ils ont tout un destin. Certains ont choisi leur parcours. Ils savent en jongler le jour. Moi, je n'ai pas de point de repère. Je balance dans le en arrière. Je vois grand dans mes intentions. Et je bute contre des pierres. Mais quand je me lève le matin, il n'y a que ce moment devant moi pour c'est toute la lumière sur ma collection de douleurs et de joie. La route est belle, je me perds en chemin. J'ai suivi les gouttes de pluie. J'en ai connu des démons, des anges et des déceptions. Et toute cette histoire me suit. La route est belle, c'est un tourbillon. J'ai suivi les papillons. J'en ai connu des moments collés au plafond. Et toute cette histoire me suit. Mais quand je me lève le matin, il n'y a que ce moment devant moi pour penser toute la lumière sur ma collection de douleurs et de joie. Mais quand je me lève le matin, il n'y a que ce moment devant moi pour penser toute la lumière sur ma collection de douleurs et de joie. Le temps passe en s'effilant, dans nos mains il ne nous reste rien. Des moments dissous dans l'inconscient, dans notre cœur, pourtant du chagrin, dans notre cœur, pourtant du bonheur, dans notre cœur. Il ne nous reste rien.
Merci, merci.
La complainte de la butte means the lament on the hill. And the hill he's talking about in the song is Montmartre. Has anybody been to Montmartre in Paris? So you know all those little stairways that they have everywhere that connect various streets. So he met a young woman at the top of these stairways and madly fell in love with her. Unfortunately, she ran away and he doesn't know her, so he wrote this song, putting it out there to hopefully she'll hear it and know that he loves her. En haut de la rue Saint-Vincent, un poète et une inconnue submerge l'espace d'un instant, mais il ne l'a jamais revue. Cette chanson est composa, espérant que son inconnu, un matin de printemps, l'entendra quelque part au coin d'une rue. La lune trop blême pose un diadème sur tes cheveux roux. La lune trop rose de gloire éclabousse ton jupon plein de trous. La lune trop pâle traverse l'opale de tes yeux placés. Princesse de la rue, sois ma bienvenue dans mon cœur blessé. Les escaliers de la butte sont durs, miséreux, les ailes des moulins protègent les amoureux. Petite mendigote, je sens ta menotte qui cherche ma main. Je sens ta poitrine et ta taille fine, j'oublie mon chagrin. Je sens sur tes lèvres une odeur de fièvre, de gosse mal nourri. Et sous ta caresse, je sens une ivresse qui m'anéantit. Les escaliers de la butte sont durs, miséreux, les ailes des moulins protègent les amoureux. Mais voilà qu'il flotte, la lune se trotte, la princesse aussi. Sous le ciel sans lune, je pleure à la brume, mon rêve évanoui. Mais voilà qu'il flotte, la lune se trotte, la princesse aussi. Sous le ciel sans lune, je pleure la brume, mon rêve évanoui. Merci. We have Jan Martinelli on the keyboard and Robert Lunceford on the accordion. My name is Mimi Pirard and we'll lead the stage to the poets.
Bonsoir, mes amis. I'm going to read a poem written after our family went to France. We've gone many times because we love it, and this visit was one in Paris and then taking the TGV down to Provence. and staying in Saint-Remy and Cassis, and meeting the mayor. He plays a big part in the poem. Au revoir, la France. Powder white sandstone. Wait a minute. This light. Let me go back just a bit. Powder white sandstone hill dwellings surrounded by walls. White cows matching the sandstone near green hedges. Roman ruins, les antiques. Columns, some leaning, some crumbling, some standing. Learned in Latin class, Doric, Ionic, Corinthian. Not sycamore, but plane trees over Paris, with their mottled bark close to the color of the olive trees. Plane trees forming arches into Saint-Remy, into Arles, into Avignon, even Aix-en-Provence. Grand entrances into old villages, marked with jaune yellow light, Van Gogh's light. Expresses French faces. Le chauffeur de taxi who loved his work shook all our hands. Yves in Cassis, our garçon, serveur par excellence, worked hard to show us his fishes, their splendor on silver plates, garlanded avec les parfums, les essences de Provence. 3 hours at dinner, not enough to honor the tastes of France. And so we spend 6 or 8 hours every day, marveling, gasping, sighing, smelling, swallowing, with people who love the earth's gifts and create tastes and names of tastes we've never known. La tapenade, des noix yotées, des béarnaises. On our day of leaving, we are late. The mayor we meet on the street takes us in his old Chevy to the TGV, across many farm fields at top speed. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Karen Bramblett, and I'm going to read the poem Volt by Tristari Zara. It's a proto-surrealist poem, that's the type of surrealist poem that was written just before surrealism really kicked in. The inclined towers, the oblique skies, the cars descending into the void of roads, the creatures along the country lanes, branches covered with hospitable virtues, with leaf-shaped birds at their crowns. You walk, but another walks in your footsteps, distilling her spite through fragments of memory and math, enveloped by a robe almost mute, the clotted sound of capitals. The seething city, dense, both with proud cries and lights, overflows the saucepan of its eyelids. Tears flow away in streams of wretched population, over the sterile plain, toward the smooth flesh, the lava, of shadowy mountains, the apocalyptic temptations, lost in a landscape of a memory and a darkened rose. I roam the narrow streets around you, while you too roam different, wider streets, round something other.
Hello, I am Evelyne Whitman, and I'm going to read you poems in French. I'm sorry about that, but some poetry cannot be translated. Is that better? Little peewee. Thank you. It's poetry cannot be translated really, truly. Whether it's from French to English or English to French or Persian to Arabic, it cannot be translated. Yes, of course, the words, you can translate the words. But the music, the sounds, you can't. So I'm going to sing that one for you and enjoy it. It's a poem by Charles Baudelaire called À une passante, to a passerby. À une passante, la rue assourdissante autour de moi hurlait. Longue, mince, en grand deuil, douleur majestueuse, une femme passa, d'une main fastueuse, soulevant, balançant le feston et l'ourlet. Agile et noble, avec sa jambe de statue. Moi, je buvais, crispé, comme un extravagant. Dans son œil, ciel livide où germe l'ouragan. La douceur qui fascine et le plaisir qui tue. Un éclair, puis la nuit. Fugitive beauté, dont le regard m'a fait soudainement renaître. Ne te verrai-je plus que dans l'éternité, ailleurs, bien loin d'ici. Trop tard, jamais, peut-être, car j'ignore où tu fuis. Tu ne sais où je vais. Ô toi, que j'eusse aimé. Ô toi, qui le savais. Thank you. The next one is a little bit lighter. It's by Jacques Prévert. Jacques Prévert is a very prolific poet from the last century. And the poem that I chose to read from him it's the closest thing to a Japanese haiku. Trois allumettes allumées une à une dans la nuit. La première pour voir ton visage tout entier. La deuxième pour voir tes yeux. La dernière pour voir ta bouche. Et l'obscurité tout entière pour me rappeler cela en te serrant dans mes bras.
I'm going to read the surrealist poem by Paul Eluard called The World is Blue as an Orange. The world is blue as an orange. No error, the words do not lie. They no longer allow you to sing in the tower of kisses, agreement, the madness, the love. She, her mouth of alliance, all the secrets, all the smiles, or what dress of indulgence to believe in, quite naked. The wasps flourish greenly, dawn goes by round her neck, a necklace of windows. You are all the solar joys, all the sun of this earth, on the roads of your beauty.
Hello, I'm Karen FitzGerald. I'm going to read you a surrealist poem and by Robert Desnos. It is entitled I've Dreamed of You So Much. And so surrealist poetry, of course, is sort of stream of consciousness, so sometimes we don't grasp it immediately, but I'll do my best to get it into your hands. I've dreamed of you so much that you're losing your reality. Is it already too late for me to embrace your living and breathing body and to kiss that mouth which is the birthplace of that voice so dear to me? I've dreamed of you so much that my arms, grown accustomed to lying, crossed my own chest in a desperate attempt to encircle your shadow, might not be able to unfold again to embrace the contours of your body. And coming face to face with the actual incarnation of what has haunted me and ruled me and dominated my life for so many days and years might very well turn me into a shadow. Oh, equilibriums of emotional scales. I've dreamed of you so much that it might be too late for me to ever wake up again. I sleep on my feet, body confronting all the usual phenomena of life and love, and yet when it comes to you, the only being on the planet who matters to me now, I can no more touch your face and lips than I can those of the next random passerby. I've dreamed of you so much, have walked and talked and slept so much with your phantom presence that perhaps the only thing left for me to do now is to become a phantom among phantoms, a shadow 100 times more shadowy than the shadow which moves and will go on moving, stepping lightly and joyfully across the sundial of your life.
Now, I'm going to read some of my translations of Francis Ponge. I don't think of myself as a translator, but when I read a Robert Bly translation of this poem I'm going to read, it didn't feel right at all. So I guess I got into a competitive mood with him and began writing. As most of you probably know, Francis Ponge is one of the fathers of the prose poem, and he too was influenced by surrealists. But I like best his poems that take an object and describe it fully and romantically and different than you've ever heard it before. The first poem I'll read is The Oyster. He wrote this in 1942. The oyster, the size of an average pebble, is more rough in appearance, less uniform in color, brilliantly whitish. It is a world stubbornly closed. However, one is able to open it, hold it in a slack tea towel, use a serrated dull knife, and go at it several times. Curious fingers cut themselves, nails chip themselves. It is work not delicately done. The blows mark its shell with white rings, sorts of halos. On the interior, one finds a whole world to drink and eat, a firmament, to speak properly, of nacre. The skies above collapse on the skies below to form nothing more than a pond, a sack, viscous and greenish, fringed with a blackish lace upon its edges that ebbs and flows before nose and eyes. Sometimes, very rarely, a head forms in its mother of pearl throat, with which one finds oneself immediately adorned. Thank you. And this one is not in the book. We didn't have time to get it in, but it's his title is The Pleasures of the Door. Kings do not touch doors. They don't know this happiness. To push before oneself gently or roughly one of these grand familiar panels, turning back to replace it, holding a door in one's arms. The happiness of gripping its belly by the knot of porcelain, one of those tall obstacles into a room. this rapid hand-to-hand that stops the step for an instant, as one eyes open and the whole body accommodates to its new quarters. With a friendly hand, one holds still before decidedly pushing it back and closing oneself in, which the click of the strong but well-oiled spring agreeably confirms.
I'm back with more surrealist poetry. And thank you, Timothy. As you know, stream of consciousness, and they dip into their dreams to write. The surrealists were reacting to the structuralists and the romantics in making a break in the poetic form. So here we go. Let's see, what do we got here? This is called Wink by Benjamin Perret. It was put out in 1936. This translation is by Keith Holloman. Wink. Parakeets fly through my head when I see you in profile, and the greasy sky streaks with blue flashes, tracing your name in all directions. Rosa coiffed with a black tribe standing in rows on the stairs where women's piercing breasts point out through men's eyes. Today I look out through your hair, Rosa of morning opal, and I wake through your sight, Rosa of armoire. I think through your exploding breasts, Rosa of a pool the frogs turn green, and I sleep in your navel of Caspian Sea. Rosa of honeysuckle in the general strike, and I'm lost in your Milky Way shoulders, impregnated by comets. Rosa of jasmine in the night of washing. Rosa of haunted house. Rosa of black forest filled with blue and green postage stamps. Rosa of kite over a vacant lot where children are fighting. Rosa of cigar smoke. Rosa, a sea foam turned into crystal. Rosa. It must have been a bad dream.
Hi. I will now read the poem in French by Victor Hugo, as you guys call him. And there's no reason to introduce Victor Hugo. Everybody knows Victor Hugo. This beautiful poem was written by him after the death of his beloved daughter, Léopoldine, who died in a boating accident in the Seine. So that's his poem. Demain, dès l'aube, à l'heure où blanchit la campagne, je partirai. Tu sais, je sais que tu m'attends. J'irai par la forêt, j'irai par la montagne. Je ne puis demeurer loin de toi plus longtemps. Je marcherai les yeux fixés sur ma pensée, sans rien voir au dehors, sans entendre aucun bruit. Seul, inconnu, le dos courbé, les mains croisées, triste, et le jour, pour moi, sera comme la nuit. Je ne regarderai ni l'or du soir qui tombe, ni les voiles au loin descendant vers Harfleur. Et quand j'arriverai, je mettrai sur ta tombe un bouquet de houverts et de bruyères en fleurs.
You're going to get very tired of me. Okay, this is entitled The Absence. The Absence, and yes, okay. Paul L. Ward, And it's 1942, The Absence. I speak to you across cities. I speak to you across plains. My mouth is upon your pillow. Both faces of the wall come meeting, my voice discovering you. I speak to you of eternity. Oh, cities, memories of cities, cities wrapped in our desires, cities come early, cities come lately, cities strong and cities secret, plundered of their mastered builders, all their thinkers, all their ghosts. Fields pattern of emerald, bright, living, surviving. The harvest of the sky over our earth feeds my voice. I dream and weep, I laugh and dream among the flames, among the clusters of the sun. And over my body, your body spreads, the sheet of its bright mirror. Okay, this is the last one. And for all you writers out there, this is Dark Poet. Get ready for it. Dark Poet. Let's see, this is by Antonin Artaud. It was 1926, translated by Victor Corti, and it was in a book entitled Umbilical Limbo. Did I say well? Merci. Mercy. Okay, let's see, Dark Poet. Dark Poet. A maid's breast haunts you, embittered poet. Life seethes and life burns. The sky reabsorbs itself in rain. Your pen scratches at the heart of life. Forest, forest, alive with your eyes on multiple pinions with storm-bound hair. The poets mount horses, dogs. Eyes fume, tongues stir. The heavens surge into our senses like blue mother's milk. Women, harsh, vinegar hearts. I hang suspended from your mouths. Thank you very much. Another bad dream.
This is the last poem I'm going to read to you in French, I promise. However, this time, you're going to have to help me. If you look in the little booklet that you have, the one I'm reading now is Liberté by Paul Éluard, Liberty. You see at the end of each stanza, you guys in English have I write your name, but I have j'écris ton nom. So when I'm finished with each stanza, and I do this, you all say j'écris ton nom. Shall we practice? J'écris ton nom. One more time. J'écris ton nom. Very good. And at the very end, instead of doing j'écris ton nom, we would say all together liberté. Very good. Sur mes cahiers d'écolier, sur mon pupitre et les arbres, sur le sable et la neige, j'écris ton nom. Sur toutes les pages lues, sur toutes les pages blanches, pierre, sang, papier et cendre, j'écris ton nom. Sur les merveilles des nuits, sur le pain blanc des journées, sur les saisons fiancées, j'écris ton nom. Sur les champs, sur l'horizon, sur les ailes des oiseaux et sur le moulin des ombres, j'écris ton nom. Sur chaque bouffée d'aurore, sur la mer, sur les bateaux, sur la montagne démente, j'écris ton nom. Et par le pouvoir d'un mot, je recommence ma vie. Je suis né pour te connaître, pour te nommer. Liberté. Very good. Thank you.
To all my well-preserved friends, life begins at 70. It's a pleasure to share Leonard Cohen with you. I was a fan of him in the 60s, the era of drugs, sex, rock, and roll. Can I still say that? And the Vietnam War. Hell no, I won't go. No, I'll stop right there. So Leonard Cohen always intrigued me. He reminded me of an articulate Bob Dylan. And just very romantic, his own pacing and way of saying things, very intriguing. So it's a pleasure to represent him here this evening. The poem is, I'm Your Man. If you want a lover, I'll do anything you ask me to. And if you want another kind of love, I'll wear a mask for you. If you want a partner, take my hand. Or if you want to strike me down in anger, here I stand. I'm your man. If you want a boxer, I'll step into the ring for you. And if you want a doctor, I'll examine every inch of you. If you want a driver, climb inside. Or if you want to take me for a ride, you know you can. I'm your man. The moon's too bright, the chain's too tight, the beast won't go to sleep. I've been running through these promises to you that I made and could not keep. But a man never got a woman back, not by begging on his knees. Or I crawl to you, baby, and I fall at your feet, and I'd howl at your beauty like a dog in heat. And I'd claw at your heart, and I'd tear at your sheet, and I'd say, please, please, I'm your man. And if you got to sleep a moment on the road, I will steer for you. And if you want to work the street alone, I will disappear for you. If you want a father for your child, or only want to walk with me for a while across the sand, I'm your man. If you want a lover, I'll do anything you want me to. And if you want another kind of love, I'll wear a mask for you. Thank you.
This next song is a song written by Barbara, who wrote tons of beautiful poetic songs. And this one is called September, in which her lover leaves and she's waiting for him on the dock. And, you know, she's noticing all the grapes and the swallows and the flowers and things like that. But what I like about this particular song is the French grammar, the French conjugation, which is so much more complex than English. And I see this as I teach French to high school students, and I see how complex it can be for a language learner. But oh my gosh, so many little connotations come out of the plus que parfait, the more than perfect, and the conditionnel passé, the past conditional, who are almost the same, but just throw these little different aspects to a text. And this song is called Septembre.
Jamais les fleurs de mai n'avaient paru si belles, les vignes de l'année, rondes pour raisins, on voit se rassembler. Déjà les hirondelles, mais il faut se quitter. Pourtant, on s'aimait bien. Quel joli temps pour se dire au revoir, quel joli soir pour jouer ses 20 ans sur la fumée des cigarettes. L'amour s'en va, mon cœur s'arrête. Quel joli soir pour jouer ses 20 ans, quel joli temps pour se dire au revoir. Les fleurs portent déjà les couleurs de septembre, l'on entend au loin s'annoncer les bateaux, beau temps pour pour un chagrin, qu'ossette en couleur d'ombre, je reste sur le quai. Mon amour, à bientôt. Quel joli temps, mon amour, au revoir. Quel joli soir pour jouer ses 20 ans sur la fumée des cigarettes. L'amour s'en va, mon cœur s'arrête, peut-être un soir, au détour d'un printemps. Quel joli temps, le temps de se revoir. Quel joli temps, mon amour, au revoir. Quel joli soir pour jouer ses 20 ans sur la fumée des cigarettes. L'amour nous reviendra peut-être un soir, au détour d'un printemps. Quel joli temps, le temps de se revoir. Jamais les fleurs de mer n'auraient paru si belles, les vignes de l'année auront de beaux raisins. On voit se rassembler déjà les hirondelles, mais il faut se quitter, mon amour, à demain. Merci, merci.
This next one is also a Sonomusette original called Ici. Ici, what if? This song talks about how it takes courage to love sometimes, mostly when things are hard, but do take my hand and we will do it together.
Et si je te dis que la vie n'est qu'éphémère, que la route n'offre que des mystères, qu'un jour ta main, et que l'amour, comme le courage, se prend à deux mains. Oh, I forgot my own words. Let's start over. Et si That's what drinking wine at 5 in the afternoon does to you. I did write these lyrics. Okay, here we go. Et si je te dis que la vie n'est qu'éphémère, que la route n'offre que des mystères, que des passages sont à prendre avec un grand élan, quand des fois ils sont des plus accablants. Si va y à travers des champs de roses d'un monde à l'envers, que chaque jour embrasse l'amour et la colère, amassés dans le temps qui s'écoule à pas ardent. Allez, viens, prends ma main, tu verras, toi, tout ira bien. Sors ton cœur de ta poche, tu verras, c'est pas si moche. Dis-toi bien, souviens-toi bien du temps où t'avais le cœur en avant. sera jamais comme avant. Et si les lendemains n'ont que des chagrins, que la pluie qui tombe entre tes mains, et qu'une envie de tout jeter par terre. Rappelle-toi, on a un demain, c'est fou ce qu'on peut en faire. Et si je te dis que le soleil brûle sans pareil, ébloui de douleur et de merveille, que chaque nuit l'amour illumine même le sommeil et fait rêver plus grand. Allez, prends ma main, tu verras toi, tout ira bien. Sors ton cœur de ta poche, tu sais quoi, c'est pas si moche. Dis-toi bien, souviens-toi bien du temps où t'avais le cœur en avant. Dis-toi bien, souviens-toi bien, ça ne sera jamais comme avant. Et si je dis que l'amour n'est qu'éphémère, qu'un jour on a tous les mystères, qu'un jour on n'aura plus de lendemain, et que l'amour, comme le courage, se prend à demain. Merci.
All right, we have one more song for you guys. We'd like to thank Timothy very much for putting on these events and having a little poetry in our community. This song needs no introduction. One of the most famous songs, Edith Piaf actually wrote herself, apparently on a napkin. It's interesting that it's such an epic love song, and yet it's got one of the ugliest French words in it twice. Heureux. Try saying it. It's just so guttural and heureux. And she says it twice. Heureux, heureux. It's always amused me, that part of the song where you're like, oh, it's such a pretty song, and then there's that part. It means happiness. It means happy.
Deux yeux qui font baisser les miens, un rire qui se perd sur sa bouche. Voilà le portrait sans retouche de l'homme qui m'appartient. Quand il me prend dans ses bras, qu'il me parle tout bas, je vois la vie en rose. Il me dit des mots d'amour, des mots de tous les jours, et ça me fait quelque chose. Il est entré dans mon cœur une part de bonheur dont je connais la cause. C'est vrai pour lui pour moi dans la vie. Il l'aperçois, je sens monter en moi mon cœur qui bat. Des nuits d'amour en plus finir, un grand bonheur qui prend sa place, des ennuis, des chagrins s'effacent, heureux, heureux à en mourir. Quand il me prend dans ses bras, qu'il me parle tout l'heure, je vois la vie en rose. Il me dit des mots d'amour, des mots de tous les jours, et ça me fait quelque chose. Il est entré dans mon cœur une part de bonheur dont je connais la cause. Il me l'a dit, l'a juré pour la vie. Et dès que je l'aperçois, je sens monter en moi mon cœur qui je sens monter en moi mon cœur qui bat.
So I'm going to read some poems by a French-Canadian poet by the name of Michel Garneau. Michel Garneau was born in 1939, passed away about 5 years ago, 2021. The poems I'm going to be reading from are a book of his entitled Poems du Traducteur, Poems of the Translator. And they were prompted by Leonard Cohen's last book, The Book of Longing, published in 2006. So Michel Garneau is quite well known in French Canada. He was a friend of mine called him the Charles Bukowski of French Canada. And I would say, yeah, probably Charles Bukowski because of his more quotidian and demotic kind of earthy verse, but also maybe a little bit of Rod McEwen too for the sentimentality of it. So I'm going to read 3 poems by Michel Garneau. And what he did is he used the poems from Leonard Cohen's book, The Book of Longing, as a prompt for his own poems. So this is entitled Like a Light, and he was riffing off of Leaving Mount Baldy, the poem by Leonard Cohen. It was in San Francisco in another century. The weather was beautiful. I was about to turn 30. On a street corner, waiting for the light to turn green, I saw a vision on the opposite side, a woman in an orange dress that pierced my gut like a light. And we met in the middle of the street for a second. We stopped right in the middle of life for a second. She said to me, "My, you're beautiful." And I laughed, and that laughter flowed through me for a second in the sunlight. Our eyes met for a second, and it was love, and it was pleasure, and happiness for a second, like a light totally flowing into my gut, more radiant than usual. As Evelyne was saying earlier, translations are practically impossible. They're always a work in progress. So even when I read these, I remember the French, and I'm going, I'm really pushing it there. So the second poem was called All the Soldiers, and it's from the Leonard Cohen poem called True Self, Vrai Moi. All the soldiers, from the first to the last, all the industries profiting from the slaughter, all the professions that support it, and all the old veterans with their obscene medals, all the collectors of military memorabilia, all the moronic players of war games, all the makers of alienating films of war, all the backers of appeasement, all the corrupt politicians who prepare for peace, and all the lazy citizens who accept it are complicit. We are all war criminals, evidently satisfied to do so. Yeah, well, that was the thing about Garneau. He's pretty outspoken. Unlike Charles Bukowski in L.A., Garneau was quite well known, and a playwright, a songwriter, a singer, a TV host. He got around, let's put it that way. And so this poem is entitled The Uniform. Telegraph Avenue. I have long hair, a big beard. Berkeley. I am entirely in denim, pants, shirt, jacket. I wear cowboy boots that come from Cheyenne, 1969. I have come on a pilgrimage to the holy sites of the New Age. But inwardly, I trip into a vast unsettling giddiness when I realize that 3/4 of the guys walking alongside me on Telegraph Avenue in Berkeley, 1969, are wearing exactly the same uniform. So I got started translating French poetry long after I had stopped speaking French. I spoke French almost exclusively for the first 10 years of my life, and then my folks moved to the States, and very rarely do I get a chance to speak French. I would say possibly in the last 70 years, hardly Well, when I was growing up, we moved to Detroit. When I was growing up, every summer we would drive to Montreal, the surrounding areas, and then I would speak French. But that was only for like a couple of weeks, then it was back to English. But one of the first poets I translated was Philippe Soupeau. And Philippe Soupeau was one of the founders of Surrealism, along with André Breton and Louis Aragon. And together they wrote Les Champs Magnétiques, the magnetic fields. So, and this poem is an interesting thing about Philippe Soupeau is that his titles, for the most part, were always easy to translate. So I translated one of his first books. He wrote it when he was 20. It was called Aquarium. It's the same word in French. And so now I'm going to read a poem from a book that he published in 1923 called Georgia. Also the same. And the title is called Comrade. So I got off easy on the titles on this. So and this poem has an interesting background. When I first translated it, I sent it to Bill Berkson, who published it in his Big Sky magazine, and this was in the 70s. And then, maybe about 5 years later, I got a letter from Paul Auster, who said, "Hey, we'd like to use your poem in the Random House Book of 20th Century French Poets." And I said, "Sure." And it is a face à face, a dual language edition, so that was great. People could see where I'd made my mistakes. And then finally, maybe about 10 or 12 years later, I got a letter from Jerome Rothenberg, who was doing a big anthology called Poems for the Millennium. And he said, "Hey, I'd like to use that poem." So this is probably one of my most published translations. Anyways, Comrade. Little months, little smokes, and oblivion in a wool dress. A door opens tenderly near a wall where the wind is born, near the jolly garden where saints and angels are afraid of the seasons. The alleys have no names. They are the hours and the years. I stroll leisurely, dressed in a cement overcoat and a hat of black straw. I don't remember if it's nice out. I walk smoking, and I smoke walking easily. Every once in a while I tell myself, it's time to stop. I continue walking. I tell myself, I have to get some air. I have to look at the clouds and breathe in a lungful. I have to see the flies fly and take a little exercise. I shouldn't smoke so much, I tell myself also. Calculate, I tell myself again. I have a headache. My life is a drop of water on my eyelid, and I'm no longer 20. Continue. The songs are songs, and the days, days. I no longer have one shred of respect for myself, but I see hoodlums who smoke the same cigarettes as me, and who are just as stupid as me. I'm pretty content without really knowing why. It doesn't suffice to speak of the sun, the stars, the sea and rivers, blood, eyes, hands. It is necessary quite often to speak of other things, to know that there are very beautiful countries with very handsome men, with no less charming women. But all that isn't really quite sufficient. The dizzying void which rings and bays makes the head bow. We look and we see again many other things which are always the same, innumerable, identical. And over there simply someone goes by, simple as a hello, and everything starts all over again. I read in the stars the goodwill of my friends. In a river I love one hand. I listen. The flowers sing. There are the goodbyes of birds. A cry falls like a fruit. My God, I will be accordingly always the same. My head in my hands, and my hands in my head. Okay, one more, and I'm out of here. So Philippe Soupeau was quite a long-lived gentleman. Died at 92. He was born in 1897 and died in 1990. And he continued writing the entire time up to the day he dropped dead. And this is from a book that he published in 1953 called Sans Phrase. Now, Sans Phrase is a difficult one to translate because it really means kind of like no nonsense. But I always, my ear told me something different, and I thought, well, maybe I'd try something else. Let's see, I wrote down what I thought it might be. And the writer shuffles his papers. Oh yeah, enough said. So sans phrase, enough said. I will work on that, by the way. And the title of the poem is called Gift. Who'll give me quiet? Demands the inquisitive man. Nameless silence, serious as a heart attack, authentic and definitive. And above all, won't play the bad guy. Certainly not motorbikes and rag pickers. Grating silence, heavy as fog you can cut with a knife. Paper fog. And also, who will follow that fellow who left to go cry in the desert? At least he'll know enough to stay quiet. Quiet, please, and even if you don't please, silence for the dead and for the living, for those trying to sleep deeply. Quiet for those who love silence, white as snow, blue as the moon, eternal as the firmament. A silence I live, breathe, forget. Silence must live like flourishing plants and their flowers who keep mum, even as they suffer. Silence like the smile of the beloved when she forgets I love her.
Hi, everybody. I'm Gwynn O'Gara, and I'm going to read a poem by Franck-André Jaume. And I encountered this wonderful poet who I felt totally in love with when I was in the library, Sebastopol Library, when it was open many years ago. And this book leapt off the shelf into my hands, and it's called Tantra Song. And Jaume was also a curator of tribal and tantric art and went to India many times to find these paintings. And he did finally succeed, and it took him a long time. And he was in a terrible bus accident. It was one thing after another. And it's interesting because Pat mentioned Bill Berkson, who lived in West County before he died, and he wrote the introduction to this book. So he was a busy guy. I think he retired from Berkeley. All right. Now, this poem was translated from the French by Norma Cole, and it was commissioned, in a sense, requested of Jaume as one of many, 12 times 12 times 6, by a group of French actors in Paris. They called themselves the Whisperers, les Souffleurs. And they asked him to produce all these poems, and then he threw them up in the air and rearranged them. And they performed them in 12 souffleurs in public places, always in Paris, through hollow tubes. And they would whisper.
and they would hold the end of the tube up to a stranger and whisper a poem in an attempt to slow things down. And of course, I love that. And Jean said of this, it was just a matter of a shield against the wolves, against the madness of the wolves. And here's the poem. The feeling. The feeling that something lost is walking around in your dreams. Spirit. Suddenly pushed to penetrate one of your thoughts with this promise. Give it steadily what it needs to live on. Time will do the rest. Thank you.
Rendezvous en Champs-Élysées. Leave Paris in the morning on TEE. I'm Lance Harmening, and I just had to say that's the opening line from a song by Kraftwerk, but it had that French sound to it, so. The Dunce by Jacques Prévert. He says no with his head, but says yes with his heart. He says yes to what he loves. He says no to the teacher. He stands, he is questioned, and all the problems are paused. Suddenly, mad laughter seizes him, and he erases all the words and the figures, names and dates, sentences and snares. And despite the teacher's threats to the jeers of infant prodigies, with chalk of every color on the blackboard of misfortune, he draws the face of happiness.
So now my husband Richard and I are going to read a chapter of The Petit Prince, the Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. Who does not know The Little Prince of Antoine de Saint-Exupéry? No hands. Okay. So this is, I have a very good friend of mine that you know, Jean Hegland. She's my student. I teach her French. And I asked her once, Jean, if you had to go to a remote island with just one book, what would you bring? And she said, all of Shakespeare. Oh, that's a big book. And then she said, Evelyne, what would you take to that remote island? And I said, Le Petit Prince d'Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. So Richard and I are going to read you the chapter 21, which is a chapter when a fox wants Le Petit Prince to tame him. And we're reading it in English. How's that? Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
I am here, under the apple tree.
Who are you? You are very pretty to look at.
I'm a fox.
Come and play with me. I am so unhappy.
I cannot play with you. I am not tamed.
Ah, please excuse me. What does that mean, tame?
You do not live here. What is it that you are looking for?
I'm looking for roses. I'm looking for men. What does that mean, tame?
Men. They have guns and they hunt. It is very disturbing. They also raise chickens. These are their only interest. Are you looking for chickens?
No, I'm looking for friends. What does it mean, tame?
It is an act too often neglected. It means to establish ties.
To establish ties?
Just that. To me, you are still nothing more than a little boy who is just like 100 or thousands of other little boys. And I have no need for you. And you, on your part, you have like 100,000 other fox. I am nothing more to you than a fox like the other thousands of other foxes. But if you tame me, then we shall need each other. To me, you will be unique in all the world. To you, I shall be unique in all the world.
I am beginning to understand. There is a flower. I think she has tamed me.
It's possible. On the earth, one sees all sorts of things.
Oh, but this is not on Earth.
On another planet?
Yes.
Are they hunters on that planet?
No.
Oh, that's interesting. Are there chickens?
No.
Nothing is perfect. My life is very monotonous. I hunt chickens. Men hunt me. And the chickens are just alike. And all the men are just alike. And in consequence, I am a little bored. But if you tame me, it will be as if the sun came to shine in my life. I shall know the sound of a step that will be different from all the others. Other steps and me hurrying back underneath the ground. Yours will call me like music out of my burrow. And then look, you see the grain fields down yonder? I do not eat bread. Wheat is of no use to me. The wheat field has nothing to say to me. And that is sad. But you have hair that is the color of gold. Think how wonderful that will be when you have tamed me. The grain, which is also golden, will bring me back the thought of you. And I shall love to listen to the wind in a wheat. Please, tame me.
I want to, very much. But I have not much time. I have friends to discover and a great many things to understand.
One only understands the things that one tames. Men have no more time to understand anything. They buy things already made in the shops, but there is no shop anywhere where one can buy friendship. And so, men have no friends anymore. If you want a friend, tame me.
What must I do to tame you?
You must be very patient. First, you will sit down a little distance from me, like that, in the grass. I shall look at you out of the corner of my eyes, and you will say nothing. Words are the source of misunderstandings. But you will sit a little closer to me every day. The next day, the little prince came back. It would have been better to come back at the same hour. If, for example, you come at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, then at 3 o'clock I shall begin to be happy. I shall feel happier and happier as the hour advances. At 4 o'clock I shall already be worrying and jumping around. I shall show you how happy I am. But if you come at just any time, I shall never know at what hour my heart is to be ready for you, to greet you. one must observe the proper rites.
What is a rite?
That also are actions too often neglected. They are what makes one day different from another day, 1 hour different from the other hour. Is a rite, for example. Among my hunters, every Thursday they dance with the village girls. So Thursday is a wonderful day for me. I can take a walk into the vineyards. But if the hunters danced at just any time, every day would be like every other day. And I should never have any vacation at all. So the little prince tamed the fox. And when the hour of the departure drew near, I shall cry.
It is your own fault. I never asked you any or meant any sort of harm, but you wanted me to tame you.
Yes, that is so.
But now you're going to cry?
Yes, that is so.
Then it has done you no good at all.
Oh, it has done me good because of the color of the wheat fields. Go and look again at the roses. You will understand now that yours is unique in all the world. Then come back to say goodbye to me, and I will make you a present of a secret.
You are not at all like my rose, and yet you are nothing. No one has tamed you, and you have tamed no one. You're like my fox when I first knew him. He was only a fox like 100,000 other foxes. But I have made him my friend, and now he is unique in all of the world. You are beautiful, but you are empty. One could not die for you. To be sure, an ordinary passerby would think that my rose looked just like you. The rose that belongs to me. But in herself alone, she is more important than all the other hundreds of you other roses. Because it is she that I have watered. Because it is she that I have put under the glass globe. Because it is she that I have sheltered behind the screen. Because it is for her that I have killed the caterpillars, except for the 2 or 3 that I saved to become butterflies. But it is she that I have listened to when she grumbled or boasted, or ever sometimes when she said nothing, because she is my rose. Goodbye.
Goodbye. And now here's my secret, a very simple secret. It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye.
What is essential is invisible to the eye.
It is the time you have wasted for your rose that makes your rose so important.
It is the time I have wasted for my rose.
Men have forgotten this truth, but you must not forget it. You become responsible forever for what you have tamed. You are responsible for your rose.
I am responsible for my rose.
So you present your poem.
I'm now going to say a little poem by Paul Verlaine, who was one of the symbolist poets of the later 19th century. The leaves of autumn, les feuilles d'automne. Les sanglots longs des violons de l'automne blessent mon cœur d'une longueur monotone. Tout suffocant et blême consonne l'heure. Je me souviens des jours anciens et je pleure. Et je m'en vais au vent mauvais qui m'emporte de ça, de là, pareil à la feuille morte. Merci.
Shall we turn off the... So, I am going now to talk about the French literature from the Caribbean, from the West Indies. It will be totally unfair to pay tribute to French literature without including the very rich literature of the French West Indies. I'm talking about the islands of Guadeloupe, Martinique, Haiti, Guyana in the south, and Tahiti in the Pacific. All these created some incredible literature. Among all the writers, I chose one. His name is Aimé Césaire. Aimé Césaire was an Afro-French poet, author, and politician, born in Martinique in 1913. He was one of the founders of the Negritude movement. The Negritude movement was a 1930s literary and political awakening followed by French-speaking black intellectuals in Paris, led by Aimé Césaire, Léopold Sédar Senghor, who later became the first black president of Senegal, and Léon Damas from the French Guiana. The movement rejected French colonial assimilation, reclaimed black identity, and celebrated African cultural heritage. It reclaimed the derogatory French word nègre into a badge of collective pride. They were inspired heavily by the Harlem resistance led by Black American writers like Langston Hughes and Claude McKay. I will now read you a short excerpt from Aimé Césaire from his book, Cahiers d'un retour au pays natal. I'll read it in English. My negritude is not a stone, not deafness flung against the clamor of the day. My negritude is not a white speck of dead water on the dead eye of the earth. My negritude is neither a tower nor a cathedral. It dips into the red flesh of the soil, plunges into the burning flesh of the sky, plunges into the dense flesh of the sea. Negritude results from an active and offensive attitude of the spirit. It is a start, and a start of dignity. He also wrote, and if all I know how to do is speak, it is for you that I shall speak. My lips shall speak for misery that have no mouth. My voice shall be the liberty of those who languish in a dungeon of despair. And above all, my body as well as my soul, beware of folding your arms in the sterile attitude of spectator, for life is not a spectacle, for a sea of pain is not a proscenium, because a man that screams is not a dancing Père. And to illustrate in a gentler way, perhaps, this very beautiful text by Aimé Césaire, I will read a poem by one of his friends, Guy Tyrolien, who is from Guadeloupe. I lived in Guadeloupe for many years, and my mother was a very good friend of his. It's a beautiful little poem about a little black boy who doesn't want to go to their school. Seigneur, Lord, I am very tired. I was born tired, and I've walked a long way since a rooster crowed. And the hill leading to their school is very steep. Lord, I do not want to go to their school anymore. Please, I beg you, let me not go there again. I want to follow my father into the cool ravines, when night still drifts within the mystery of the woods, where spirits glide, spirits the dawn comes to chase away. I want to walk barefoot along the scorchous path that skirt the thirsty ponds at midday. I want to take my nap at the foot of the heavy mango trees. I want to wake up when, in the distance, the white man's siren wails and the factory, anchored in an ocean of cane, spews its black workforce out into the countryside. Lord, I do not want to go to this school anymore. Please, I beg you, let me not go there again. They say a little black boy must go there, so he can become just like the gentleman from the city, the proper gentleman. But I do not want to become, as they say, a gentleman from the city, a proper gentleman. I prefer to wander near the sugar mills, past the well-filled sacks swollen with brown sugar. Brown, just like my own skin. I prefer, around the hour when the amorous moon whispers softly into the ears of the leaning coconut palm, to listen in the night to the cracked voice of an old man telling stories as he smokes. Tales of Zamba and Compère Lapin and so many other things beside that are not found in their books. Black people, as you know, have worked far too hard. Why must also learn from books that speak to us of things that do not belong here? And besides, their school is truly too sad. Sad, like those gentlemen from the city, those proper gentlemen, who no longer know how to dance in the moonlight, who no longer know how to walk on the soles of their feet, who no longer know how to tell stories at evening gatherings. Lord, I do not want to go to this school anymore.
Anthem by Leonard Cohen. The birds they sing at the break of day. Start again, I heard them say. Don't dwell on what has passed away or what has yet to be. Ah, the wars, they will be fought again. The holy dove, she will be caught again. Bought and sold and bought again. The dove is never free.
Ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in.
We ask for signs, the signs were sent. The birth betrayed, the marriage spent. Yeah, the widowhood of every government, signs for all to see. I can't run no more with the lawless crowd, while the killers in high places say their prayers out loud. But they've summoned up a thunder cloud. They're going to hear from me.
Ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in.
You can add up the parts, but you won't have the sum. You can strike up the march. There is no drum. Every heart, to love will come. But like a refugee,
ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. Ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. That's how the light gets in.
that's how the light gets in.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take a moment here and do a photo shoot. We want to take a picture of this joy, send it out in the world, change it on the way.